Welcome to Behind the Bio, where we look past the titles and achievements to uncover the real stories, the struggles, and the defining moments that help you rise higher, go further, and live upgraded. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. This is Dexter L. Scott. Listen, I have Mr. Chris Terrell on the show. Chris, welcome to the show, man.
Thanks a lot, man. Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me. Appreciate you
Absolutely.
having me.
Absolutely. It's good to have you here, man. So listen, we already know about the bio. You have done some amazing things, and I know people
Thank,
are impressed. But we want to know
thank you.
what's going on behind the scenes. Man, give us a few minutes of your journey. How did it start? What are some of the things that people really don't know about how you got into this industry? How did you get going?
Oh man, it's well, that's a long one there. Um, it's funny. One of my partners, Chris Curry, um, an uncle in Virginia Beach that was managing Teddy Riley. I've always wanted to be, if I could back up a little, I
Yeah.
always wanted to be industry. Had a itch from high school, air guitar. We had this thing called like putting on the hits
Right.
in school, and I did well, and that attracted a lot of attention. Won a big talent show after that over at St. Aug, like a $5 video deal, and I just took off from there. Um, and I hooked up with my man Adrian Hinton, and we had issues at the beginning. We started out young and all love, and we had a falling out, and we ended up linking back up when I got to Central. And he want to make something happen, and we did, and we ended up linking up with his partner Chris Curry at the time, who, like I said, was managing. His uncle was managing Teddy Riley,
Right.
and we would see him, and they liked us a lot,
Yeah.
but we were knuckleheads at the time. uh, Knuckleheads. We went down to Hampton to see my home girl, and hung out with them, her and her friends at Hampton, and we were supposed to be back at the studio, and didn't make it back when we were supposed to. So his uncle cursed us out. God rest his dead. He passed away.
Yeah.
Harvey Austin. And cursed us out and said, "Man, you, y'all need to go to New York and just lose yourself and find yourself."
Wow.
And so that's really how the journey began.
Mm-hmm.
He was supposed to link us up with his son, and we got to Jersey where he was supposed to meet up with us, and he never left. He never met up with us. So I had been going back and forth to New York with another friend of mine who was hustling in the street, and I knew his brother-in-law, so I called him because we had been up there for about a week, and we were determined not to go back home.
Mm-hmm.
And he came and got us, man. We ended up staying in the Bronx. He taught us New York, and we just started setting up meetings, meeting with people. And it's funny, one of the females from Hampton, who I linked up with, was working in New York that summer. We had moved up there in May, and she was doing an intern for the summer at a record label.
Yeah.
She told Puff about us, and Puff called me, and I didn't really know who Puff was at the time. You know, again, we young and dumb. We up there in the game, just trying to get wherever it leads us to.
Right.
And
Yeah.
and we had already linked up with another guy by the name of Brian Leach, who's discovered ASAP Rocky and a whole lot of other people. And he was supposed to get us a deal at Epic Records. Excuse me, at RCA. His girlfriend was working records, and we ended up going to meet Puff anyway because when he called, I didn't know who he was, and he told me who he was. Wanted us to come down to Uptown MCA, and I was like, we can't do it. We got other things to do. Hung up the phone. He calls right back. Yo, B, you know who I am? I'm Puff. I got Mary J, Heavy D, he's just Father MC, Jodeci. He started naming all these people. And he was like, yo, if y'all all that, meet me at 1755 Broadway, 4:30.
Yeah.
Of course, we jumped on the Iron Horse, the train from White Plains. We were staying in White Plains at the time. And went down to meet him. And we had no idea what his brother looked like at the time. You know what I'm saying? This is 1992.
Okay.
And So we in the lobby of the MCA. They let us upstairs, and we're waiting on them. And a guy comes out who he had met the previous day with the guy Brian Leach. He was Mary J. Blige's like road manager or something like that. And he was like, "Yo, what y'all doing down here?" He was like, "Yo, we come down here to see Puff." And he was like, "Yo, y'all straight already?" It was like, "All right, so we just gonna go into this meeting."
Right.
And so he went and called Brian, unbeknownst to us, right? So
Right.
Puff comes out, bald head dude, shorts, t-shirt, like, "Yo, y'all looking for Puff?" It was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Yo, I'm Puff." And he was like, "Yo, this dude our age, right?" So he gets to the office, and he was like, "So y'all, I hear y'all sing this, that, and the other." We sung the national anthem. We sang that for about 30 minutes. We sang it real slow.
Yeah.
And then we had these demo tapes that we had done in North Carolina with this guy. This guys that used to do bell bonds named Carl and Gerald. But they were trying to manage us at when right before we left, and we did like this small demo with them, and we played that. And he looked at me, "Yo, you like R. Kelly?" And I was like, yeah, R. Kelly's cool." He was like, "You kind of remind me." And his phone rings. And the phone, he looking at me, and he was like, "Yo, be the phone for you." And I'm like, "What?" Grabbed the phone. It was my man, Brian. He's spazzing. He's spazzing out. Like, "Yo, what y'all doing up there? I told y'all I got y'all." So that just turned to, it was good though. It made them want to do something even more serious. He went and got Andre Harrell. Andre Harrell comes in the office. He was like, "Yo, we're gonna offer them like $175,000 record deal, or if you manage, it'll be $225." We were hyped. Like, yeah.
Oh yeah.
So that's kind of how the journey started. And so he walked us out, and Mary J. Blige was just popping at the time.
Wow.
I had met her maybe like 6 months prior, 5 months prior, at a club named Tremors in North Carolina.
Gotcha.
And when she was performing, I'm standing in front of her. She's singing to me, and then she started grabbing my hand. So I'm like, okay, it's all good, right? So she went off stage. A few minutes later, somebody came back and got me. I was like, "Yo, Mary, want to meet you." Went and met her. We hung out at the club. So when Puff walks us downstairs, she's coming in the MCA building with like 5 girls. And she sees me. She runs to me and grabs me. Puff was like, "You know her?" You know what I'm saying? So everything was like popping in place. It was making us, you know what I mean? So we ended up, because we had just moved in with my man in downtown Brooklyn, Brian Leach. And so we kind of felt bad going to sign with Puff when he was like, we were just moving in with Brian and his girl, because we didn't have anywhere to live. We had no family there. We was just like just left North Carolina Central, and we just like, we going to get this deal. And ended up not taking Puff's deal.
Okay.
And going to RA. So we were supposed to be like a threat coming out after SWV. And things didn't go as planned, you know what I mean? But that's how it started.
Right. Wow. That's an incredible background. And I'm sure a lot of people did not know that story. So let me ask you this. So as you recounted your journey to get up to where you are, what are some things up until that point that really helped you identify, like, okay, this is a journey. It's not a journey for the weak, but this is something that really molded who I am. What happened? Is something in particular that happened during that season of your life that helped you realize this is where I'm going. This is where I need to be.
Well, it turned me into an adult, man. It grew me up as a man. I was a little boy when I went up there. Basically, I had that little boy mentality. I had been around. The drug and crack game was still at a high pace at that time. And most of my guys in North Carolina, a lot of them were getting hooked on drugs in the street. And I chose not to go that path. And, God had his hands on molding me. So for me, it was a pivotal moment of just growing up and being out on my own. It was like I'm in the jungle just trying to survive.
Right.
And I didn't want to do the wrong thing. So that was even the case of us not signing with Puff. We felt like we were raised a certain way, so we didn't want to go out and be doing something deliberately wrong, trying to get something else, you know, that we thought would be beneficial to us, and not doing right by somebody else who was trying to look out.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was just all you putting everything together of how you were brought up the best way you can at the time, because we were struggling. When they say struggling artists, I know that too
Wow.
well
Wow.
because we were in that zone, not having a place to call your home.
Yeah. And, Chris, I think about it, man. When you talk about just that time of struggle, I can
Yeah,
look back and think about, wow, man. I mean, a lot of us have similar struggles, but your struggles are different. We're talking about you being a musician. That's a whole different
right.
category. And a lot of people don't even get to experience that, man. So I really appreciate you saying that. So let me ask you this: rock bottom. If I were to throw the term rock bottom at you through your journey,
Mhm. Yeah.
give us, the listeners, and those that are watching us, give us an idea of what does rock bottom look like for Chris.
Oh man. Well, in that journey, we ended up going with RCA,
Hmm.
and a year later, the deal fizzled.
Wow.
Um, so I ended up getting a job on Wall Street. Um, Started out as a file clerk, um, and my man he got into the financial game as well. Company, I think, if I remember correctly, BEA. But we were doing that to maintain ourselves while we were there. We ended up getting our
Right.
own place, of course,
Yeah.
um, and I ended up marrying my high school sweetheart,
Hmm.
and it didn't work out in a bad way. You know what I mean? Like she went left on me.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so I had ended up being able to buy this townhome in Jersey City, and when all that happened, and I'm in the midst of all these other big ventures with big time people. I'm working with a guy by the name of Rick Brown and Dad Two Face, who eventually managed Carl Thomas and others. But
Wow.
Rick Brown was working at Electra at the time, and I had got in his ear. He ended up listening to us, and you know things were going well,
Hmm.
and all of this got swept under my feet, swept away from me, and it was
Wow.
like boom. I thought I had lost, the woman who I thought I loved at the time, um, and my music was falling apart. It
Wow.
seemed, you know what I mean? It was like, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
I didn't have another place to go. And me being the type of man that I am, I chose to leave the house and let her have it.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Than trying to fight for something, even though I was in the right. You
Right.
understand?
Right.
Um, that's so, but and everybody was like telling me don't leave. But my dad at the time, who taught me about integrity, he was like,
Yeah. Yeah.
"It'll come again, son. Get out of there." You know what I'm saying? You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
So I listened to him because I thought that would be beneficial for my sane, for me to stay sane anyway.
Right.
It took me down there through it, through that, man. I really
Wow.
realized at that point who cared about Terrell, who cared about Christopher Terrell.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Who cared about, the person who I am if I never sing again, if I never have a dime or a dollar,
Hmm.
and I I ended up removing so many people
Wow.
away from me at the
Yeah.
time, and I was able to eventually gather myself, but that was the moment of
Hmm.
my broken. I was
Right.
completely gone.
Wow. Wow. And,
Yeah.
you went right into, I was going to ask you, what was the reset moment? And you just said what that was.
Yeah,
That's
man.
amazing. Yeah.
God, you know what I'm saying? It was God holding me, man, because I experienced the stress that I had never experienced before. I never knew what stress was. You hear about it, but I never
Hmm.
knew what. I would go to the train to get ready to go to Wall Street, go to work, and dude, I couldn't even stand up to get off the train.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was bad. You know,
Hmm.
like I was in a devastation mode that I can't even really put into the words. But God is what I really all I can say, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I had some people up there that I could talk to. And then I had people from home that were contacting me that really
Hmm.
stayed in my ear. Um, and I just kept fighting, man. I just really kept fighting till
Wow.
one
Yeah.
day I felt like I was, I found myself.
Hmm.
You know,
Right.
it was.
Yeah.
It's just one of those moments that you'll get some information, and you feel like you've been, what's the word I'm looking for? Not nullified, but I can't even think of the word right now. But it 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 gave me peace.
Right.
You know what
Right.
I mean? It gave me peace because the picture that was put out of who I wasn't true, wasn't the true
Yeah.
person who I
Yeah.
am. And it finally came out. You know, when the truth comes out, man, you feel like $1,000,000.
That's
You know what
right.
I mean? No, I don't care if you only got a dime in your pocket. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
when the truth comes out about you and your character, because my dad always taught me character is really all you have to stand on.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
if you got in trouble, Dexter, and you got plenty of people right now that will speak on your behalf
Right.
and
Yeah.
speak well of you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But when you live in the wrong life and doing the wrong things, people are not going to want to come and speak on your behalf. And
Hmm.
that's what I want to make sure
Yeah.
was done for me. I always try to carry myself in a way where, at the end of the day, it's all about the character of who I am.
Right. Wow, that's good, Chris. Man, thank you for sharing. This is incredible information for the listeners because we always, we see people's success and we try to figure out, man, how did they get there? I know it was kind of all roses, but it's not roses. You're letting us know that. So,
Thorn,
look, let's do this,
buddy.
man. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I said it was thorn bushes.
Yeah. 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 So, look, man, let's transition. So now, how did you came out of that? You
Yeah,
were able to get out of that situation, losing
yeah.
record deals. All kinds of stuff. So take us now on the journey of where you are now. What has that journey looked like? What has it looked like for you to continue to do the things that are passionate about you, and that's music?
Right. Yeah. So me and my partner, we went our separate ways at the time, and I knew I needed to still keep doing what I'm doing. It still was my dream to do music, and I
Mm-hmm.
really hadn't. Although we had these contacts with Heavy D and all these other people who had done things for me, things had fizzled, and I was solo by myself. I made the decision, okay, well, we're not going to do our thing together, but I still want to do it.
Yeah.
Just started hustling, and I had made friends who um, were still in the business and doing great production
Mm-hmm.
with other than just those people in the industry, all the big parties. And I ended up going to this, and I was a member of ASCAP, which is a big publishing house.
Gotcha.
Um, they had so by that I would go to a lot of their events, meeting people, networking, and I ended up going to this party for it was like a day.
Hey, Chris, you there? Lost you for a minute.
Event, and I met this guy named Jaheim Bryant,
Mm,
who ended up being my manager. He
gotcha.
was from Queensbridge, and he was just hustling, man. He came up to me asking me, who I was and got my number. And he actually was doing that to a lot of people
Mm-hmm.
that day. And whoever had the most contacts at the end of the night was like recognized, whatever. It was like a big industry thing. We're having
Gotcha.
fun. And
Gotcha.
he won. Went up on stage, came out afterwards, and he was like, "No, I really wanted to meet you, man. Seeing some things about you that really um, that caught my eye."
Mm-hmm.
And he ended up being like Mob Deep's Havoc and Prodigy, one of their guys that helped him down.
Yeah.
He all of Queensbridge, Nas, and all these guys. Those were his guys.
Mm-hmm.
And he ended up getting locked up. We had recorded some songs that I was supposed to release on Loud Records. That was the plan.
Mhm.
And he got locked up in the midst. And I'm like, God, every time I get to this point,
Wow.
something happens,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So as he's locked up, he still connects me with Havoc from Mobb Deep. I go out to Long Island and do some recording with him. And that's how I ended up messing with Havoc and those guys. And
Mhm.
the relationship just started to build. I started doing all these different hooks with different rap guys. Um, and I met one of their engineers by the name of Steve Solar, this Italian dude, had down to his butt and whatnot, but he was one of the dopest engineers in the business. They call him the Mix King now.
Wow.
So I was doing some writing with him, and I ended up me and my I had met my new wife, who I'm with right now, Melissa. Big shout out to my beautiful wife.
Mhm.
I had met her in 2000, and we decided to buy a house in Staten Island. We had just had two small kids.
Mhm.
Zaina was already about 4 years old, and wanted to buy a house, but houses there were astronomical
Gotcha.
back
Gotcha.
then. Astronomical back then.
Right.
Her mom and my wife talked me into moving into my wife's to my mother-in-law's basement,
Mhm.
and I didn't want to do it, but those things like we can save some money, y'all just come
Right.
here, I can watch the kids,
Yeah.
which is one of the reasons why we wanted to move to Staten Island and move from Brooklyn.
Mhm.
But I couldn't take it. But what happened was Steve Solar sent me this track.
Mhm.
While I was recording with him, he sent me something to my email. I went home and I wrote this song while I was in the basement called Struggle No More.
Mhm.
And another friend of mine, Big Herb and Big Pooh, they were in the industry. Big Pooh was working with Michael Bivins,
Mhm.
and they ended up being these big security dudes now, who work for all like the celebs, security. At that time, Big Pooh called me and said, "Hey, we're looking for some writers for Tyler Perry. You got some songs. We want to put you with this writing group, and y'all write some songs." They told me what the movie was about, so I said, "Hey, bro, I already got a song for that."
Mhm.
And they was
Wow.
like, "Get out of here!" So they came and picked me up,
Yeah.
and I'm riding uptown with them to Harlem, and it was like, "Give me the CD and let me hear it." And I played it for them. They just kept playing it over and over again, and that's how I got Struggle No More for
Wow.
Tyler Perry.
Yeah.
And ended up taking it to Atlanta, and Anthony Hamilton jumped on it,
Mhm.
loved it, and then Tyler Perry was like, "Listen, he had all these stars, Whitney Houston, all on this project,
Mhm.
and he was like, this is my favorite song. We need a remix for this." So Tamika Scott from Escape
Yeah.
got involved, and then we got Jaheim and Musiq Soulchild to jump on the remix, man, and it just went,
Wow.
that was, yeah, it went like number 4 on Billboard, man. So it was like crazy, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Yeah.
it just took off for me from there, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? So
Wow.
just totally blessed out the blue, you know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
The song I
Wow.
was struggling with it, by being in that basement, you know?
Right. Yeah.
So,
Exactly. Wow. So look, man, is there anything else, as we, draw this in, anything else that you want the listeners to know, man, just about behind the bio, man? What, anything else that you want them to know if they're struggling with something, if there's something that they are just trying to figure it out. They're on social media, they're watching everybody else, they're thinking that life is just this big ball of success. They don't know what's happening. Anything else you
right.
want to share? Anything else you want to let them know that they
I
can they
was
can overcome?
I would say to never sell yourself short, you
Mm,
know. Um, we all know tomorrow's not promised to us,
yeah.
but when you have something that you're passionate about,
Mm,
never give up, because I was always taught you're only 6 degrees from where you want to be,
that's good.
right?
That's good.
So when you go for it, because somebody could be right in that next room
Mm,
that needs to hear or see whatever you have going.
yeah.
Um, Brian Leach told me one time, he said, if you're on the 2 yard line, why would you give the ball to somebody else when the goal line is right there.
Wow, that's good.
You got to go for it. You know what I
You
mean?
gotta go for it.
So, and the model that I live on right now is make every day count.
Mhm.
It's very important
Wow.
because there's no days that should be lacking in whatever you're trying to do.
Yeah.
And that's not, um, I'm a true believer in it in today
Yeah.
and not worrying about tomorrow, because we all got things that we could be worried about, quote unquote. You know, you going through certain things. How's this bill gonna get paid, or how is my son tuition gonna get paid, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
A job look like they're laying off, and all the things that are going on right now, and the calamities and things of that nature. You got to worry about today. Make today work for you.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. That's good, man. This has been incredible. So, Chris, listen, I know people, man, they want to know how can they connect with you? What you got going on right now?
Well, I've been in a battle with cancer. That's what's been going on with me. So
Mm.
right now I'm
Wow.
here advocating for that. I've been doing some cancer awareness. I try to be transparent in my walk. And Montel Williams is actually going through the exact same thing right now. He's
Gotcha.
more visible than I am, but it's the exact same thing that I've been going through as well. So we're on the same path, but just advocating for my brothers to make sure they get checked, man.
Gotcha.
Prostate is a very serious cancer that can be one if you detect it early.
Right.
And that's the most important thing, because a lot of us don't go get checked out,
Mm.
or they can hear about intimacy issues because of it, so they don't want to get checked out and get treated. But at the end of the day, man, you want to live and make yourself worth something out here to your family. If you got kids, they want you here. You know what I mean? So make sure that you get checked. You know, that's the biggest thing I got going on. But you can reach me at RnB Terrell. That's R-N, not and, RnB Terrell.
Mhm.
On all platforms. I have two projects out right now that I push, entitled the Geo Soul Tape and Geo 2. Geo stands for Good Energy Only, and that's what allowed me to win this season. I had to channel good energy only
Yeah.
to manifest myself to winning this battle and making sure I don't get into these low places in life. So I always try to give that good energy no matter what I'm going through, no matter how I feel when I wake up in the morning, the type of medicine or whatever I may have to deal with, or treatment. Leave that alone, and be thankful I woke up, and be thankful I still got my family here. You
Right.
know, and that's really the big deal, man. So for me, so those are the things that I want to carry on and let people know that I'm dealing with as well.
Awesome, man. Chris, look, thank you for sharing it, man. I'm telling you guys, it's a blessing. You bless me. You know what I'm saying?
Thank
And I
you.
know you bless so many other people. So listen, ladies and gentlemen, that's Mr. Chris Terrell. You can find all his information. It's going to be in the show notes. Christopher Terrell. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, no. You
A lot
good. Look, you're going to find all of the show
Christmas.
notes. You'll see all this information there. And is anything lastly you want to leave with everybody, Chris, before we turn it off for the night?
Nah, man, stay prayed up. I got a son that's also in the industry. His name is Chris V. Make sure you check him out. He's 23. He's coming, so salute to him and just my family in general, man. I love my family, man, and I appreciate you having me again. Thank you.
Absolutely. Listen, guys, this has been Dexter L. Scott. You know, we're talking about some amazing things. We're talking about going behind the bio. We want you to rise higher, go further, and live upgraded. We'll see you on the next episode.
Salute.